Hi everyone! We are back for another lesson. By the way, I'm your Sir Ariel Aluvera, your teacher in English 6. Before we start, let me greet each one of you a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time you're watching this, I hope that you are having a good day. Today, I will teach you how to analyze figures of speech, specifically hyperbole and irony. Are you ready to listen? Let me request everybody to please focus your attention on screen so that you will be able to answer our activity later on. Let's go! Before we go on, what is a figurative language? So, figurative language is also known as figures of speech. It is a way of speaking or writing in which the speaker or writer describes things in a new or different way that must not be taken literally. Unconsciously, we also use figurative language in our day-to-day life without even noticing it. For example, when we say, "I'm so hungry. I think I'm gonna die." See? That's one example of figurative language, such as this. "Oh no, I think it's so hot today. My skin is getting burned." That is one example of figurative language. Today, we will focus on hyperbole and irony. And let me discuss it to you one by one. Hyperbole or hyperbolic statements are exaggerated statements that are almost impossible to believe, since they may never happen or exist. Again, it is an exaggerated statement or an overstatement of something, just to emphasize. Here are some examples of hyperbole. Number 1, my world turned upside down. See that? The meaning should not be taken literally, because it is impossible that one's world will turn upside down literally. Meaning, perhaps someone is experiencing something very difficult. That is why it is like his or her world has turned upside down. For example, when we have extreme problems at home, we experience difficulties, burdens, stress, that sometimes we think that our world is turning upside down. But that is just an exaggeration. This sentence can mean positive or negative meaning. On a positive note, my world turned upside down can mean that my life has completely changed. Did you now understand? Let us proceed to our second example. Your voice is deafening. Again, your voice is deafening. This simply means that one's voice is so loud. That is why the writer has said, your voice is deafening. It does not mean literally that your voice can make someone deaf. But the writer would like to emphasize that your voice is so loud. Okay? Number 3, the heat of my body can produce fire. Does it mean that the writer wants to say that literally, because of the heat, my body can produce fire? Or my body is burning? Does it have a literal meaning? No. Because the writer would like to say that it is super hot. that the heat of my body can produce fire. It does not have a literal meaning. It just would like to emphasize that the climate at that very moment is so hot. That is all about hyperbole. Once again, hyperbole is a figure of speech that expresses overstatement and exaggeration of a particular condition. On the other hand, irony is a figure of speech that expresses the contrary or opposite of what should one really think, especially in order to be funny. Take note that the clue word here is opposite. It is also called an ironic statement. The words used in ironic statements express praise or approval. However, the real purpose is to criticize, mock, or ridicule. Example number 1. The teacher fails the test. Isn't it an ironic statement? Yes, it is. Because we always see teacher as someone who knows almost everything. So a teacher is impossible to fail the test. But this statement is considered an irony because in this case, the teacher fails the test. Its purpose is to be funny, right? That expresses the contrary or opposite of what should really think. Number 2 example. The shoemaker's children have no shoes. Is it possible in real life that a shoemaker's child or children have no shoes? Isn't it ironic? So this is an irony because a shoemaker is someone who makes shoes. But how come his or her children have no shoes? So its purpose once again is to be funny, to criticize, to mock, or ridicule. So this is an ironic statement or what we call irony. Number 3. The doctor died of pneumonia. Again, the doctor died of pneumonia. This is an example of irony. Why? Because a doctor is expected to be healthy all the time. Because it's his or her profession. But in this case, in this sentence, the doctor is said to have died because of pneumonia. This is obviously an irony or an ironic statement. Because how come that a doctor can die because of pneumonia? So the purpose of this, once again, is in order to be funny, to criticize, to mock, or to ridicule. Once again, this is irony. So, for our next activity, we will read and analyze if the statements express exaggeration or ironic ideas. Once again, if it expresses an exaggeration or overstatement, you will write hyperbole. But if it is an ironic idea or it shows opposite of what is being described or said, you will write irony. Note that there are clue words to help you understand if it is an irony or hyperbole. Are you ready? Number 1. I can see the germs with my naked eyes. I can see the germs with my naked eyes. Can you exactly or can you really see the germs by just using your naked eyes? Is it possible? Is it an ironic idea? Or is it an exaggeration or overstatement? Is it a hyperbole or irony? The correct answer is hyperbole. Why? Because this is an overstatement or an extreme exaggeration. A human eye can never see the germs, because germs can only be seen by special equipment such as the microscope. Let us proceed to the second example. My dad has iron hands that could lift a 10-story building. Wow! In the second example, my dad has iron hands that could lift a 10-story building. Is this a hyperbole or an irony? Remember to analyze using the underlined clue words. Are you done? The answer is hyperbole. This is once again an expression of extreme exaggeration and overstatement. But it just wants to emphasize that the dad in the sentence is very strong, but not literally that he has iron hands. Number 3. Our teacher gave Elna a 100% grade for failing the test. Is it a hyperbole or irony? I'll give you time to think. Come to think of it, can a teacher actually give someone a 100% grade for failing a test? Remember, huh? Failing the test. Is it a hyperbole or irony? The answer is irony. I think you got it right. Our teacher gave Elna a 100% grade for failing the test is an example of irony because it means the opposite thing. Who would reward someone who fails the test, right? So it is indeed an irony. Number 4. I have read the book 100 times. Again, I have read the book 100 times. Is it a hyperbole or irony? The answer is hyperbole. A hyper-exaggeration or a hyper-statement of something. It does not literally mean that I have read the book 100 times, meaning I just read the book for so many times, but not literally 100 times. So this is a hyperbole or an extreme exaggeration or overstatement of something. Let us proceed to the last number 5. The dentist suffers a disturbing toothache. Again, the dentist suffers a disturbing toothache. Isn't this funny? Therefore, the answer is irony. Right? Do you have the same answer? Number 5 sentence is an example of irony. Because a dentist cannot possibly have a toothache because that's his or her job, to treat toothache. So how come that a dentist suffers from a disturbing toothache? So therefore, this is an irony. Isn't it ironic? This can happen, and therefore, this is an example of irony. I hope that you have listened carefully. This time, it's your turn to do it on your own. So the 5 statements that I'll be flashing on screen are examples of figurative language. But you will identify if each statement is an example of hyperbole or irony, using the knowledge that you have learned a while ago. Don't forget to look for clue words. That will help you decide if it is an irony or hyperbole. I know that you can do it. I will give you 2 minutes to do this. Good job! This is your additional activity. For your additional activity, you will read and understand the short selection. Look and underline the hyperbolic sentences and circle the ironic sentences. That's it for today. Bye everyone, stay healthy and safe. See you next time.